Hello, this is Matt on the Moon Lambo channel, destroyer of dreams and hope. Not actually, look, you know me, I think that XRP is going to be worth an absolute fortune compared to where it is now, but I also insist that we live as closely as possible in actual reality. So when there are bogus narratives or silly things stated, I do feel a strong desire to push back against that stuff, and I insist that living in reality will result in sufficient excitement. We don't need to pepper it with a bunch of hopium and nonsense and BS narratives. But look at the headline here from Coin Edition, that we're going to be talking about this topic. Ripple's Day of Reckoning. SEC meeting on July 18th, that's tomorrow, could spark XRP rally. Really? My coin go up? Come on, guys. I have to cover this. And look, there's so many reasons to be optimistic about the future of XRP, including if you're just talking from a price perspective. This is not one of those reasons. It just flatly stated absolutely is not one of those reasons. I also want to share with you new comments from Ripple CEO Brad Garlinghouse. He's talking about the SEC, not just SEC nonsense, but from a regulatory perspective, what's been happening in the United States with crypto, which will lead us perfectly to this article from the Crypto Basic. Ripple donates $1 million to dethrone Senator Elizabeth Warren. And I'll remind y'all, you probably don't need to be reminded, Attorney John Deaton is running for Senate against Senator Elizabeth Warren. Ripple just funded him to the tune of $1 million effectively. I'll give you the specifics a little bit later in the video, but it's good stuff. Before going further, I do want to be clear, I do not have a financial background of any kind. I am not offering financial advice, and you definitely should not buy or sell anything because of anything I say or write. I'm just an enthusiast who enjoys making YouTube videos about crypto-related topics, but just as a hobby and just for fun. All right, so jumping into the first topic, I want to cover this article from the Crypto Basic titled, Former Lawyer Says SEC Won't Discuss Ripple Settlement in Upcoming Meeting. So that's a very different headline than what I shared you from Coin Edition, which says, could spark XRP rally? Not so much. Retired securities lawyer Mark Fagel dismisses speculations that the US SEC could agree to settle its multi-year lawsuit with Ripple during its upcoming Sunshine Act meeting. For context, rumors have been spreading in the XRP community that the SEC might discuss a settlement with Ripple during its upcoming closed-door meeting. The SEC commissioners and officials will attend the meeting, which is scheduled for 2 p.m. Eastern on July 18th. According to the Sunshine Act notice, the SEC officials will focus on 4 major agendas, including settlement of administrative proceedings and injunctive actions, as well as resolving litigation claims. So I'll pause to note, that's why people are speculating this. And I don't think that the people speculating on this necessarily are stupid or bad unless they know better and they're just trying to get clicks, in which case I say, shame on you for driving a false narrative. But if you just see that, if it's on the surface and you have no additional context, I absolutely understand if somebody could look at that and be like, oh, wow, maybe there is something to this potential settlement incoming, but not so fast because this has happened roughly 11 billion times. That's just a rough estimate. So check this out. With settlement being among the 4 agendas, XRP enthusiasts speculated that the SEC could officially settle with Ripple, thus ending the multi-year legal tussle. Popular XRP community figure and Dizer Capital founder Yassin Mubarak recently weighed in on the matter, suggesting that the SEC is unlikely to agree on a settlement with Ripple. Reacting, Fagel, who was a former SEC regional director, humorously highlighted a recurring pattern of anticipation and disappointment surrounding the regulator's closed-door meeting. So here's the actual exchange here. The post from Yassin Mubarak, XRP community member, reads as follows. Okay, folks, time for speculation fun based on known facts. This Thursday, July 18th, the SEC is having a closed-door meeting to discuss the items underlined below. Dare I say Ripple settlement? Probably not, but speculating is fun. Okay, and so if he doesn't know any better and he saw that and he wants to speculate, that's reasonable, that's fine, nothing against him. But I did know better because I have seen this endlessly. I don't even know the first time I saw it sometime years ago. I couldn't even tell you. It's been that long and there's been so many of these things. And there you can see time and date, 2 p.m. tomorrow, yada, yada, settlement, blah, blah, blah. It's right here, you underlined it. An institution and settlement of injunctive actions. So I get why people are wondering, maybe there's something to this. But former SEC attorney Mark Fagel straightened this out, and he wrote the following in response. I mean, they've had about 150 of these nearly weekly meetings since the case was filed, and crypto Twitter was convinced a settlement was being discussed at every one of those meetings, but this is definitely the one. Narrator, it's not the one. So he's having a little fun in the way that he's wording it, but he is correct. This happens just about every single freaking week. It's just, it's not highlighted. Every once in a while, somebody notices this who has some notable follower count, and I think he does too. Let's see here. That's certainly 8,765 followers. That's not easy to attain. And so that gets circulated, certain people repost it, and then before you know it, crypto media is covering it, and then I have to talk about it again. Every once in a while, this just happens. This is another one of those instances. Nothing has changed. Now, that doesn't mean that we shouldn't be thrilled about XRP and its prospects for hitting a new all-time high and melting faces this cycle. I still believe that's what's most probable. Yes, but not because of this. Not specifically because of this. Then there's this post from Fortune, which Brad Garlinghouse reposted. Fortune wrote, Ripple CEO Brad Garlinghouse tells Brainstorm Tech he's shocked that crypto has become a partisan issue. Quote, why would we have a Republican versus Democrat dynamic around innovation? End quote. Good question. And I think it goes back to, you can think about it, basically the inception of crypto. What happened from the beginning? It was a bunch of people that were on the right, including a bunch of libertarians that basically just wanted a bunch of freedom and less government control, and so that was the initial appeal. A decentralized monetary asset, Bitcoin, that could replace the role of money potentially. Like that was the initial appeal. And so if you think about the dynamic, like I've had people ask me like, why? How could this become dynamic? Like, what causes this? I mean, I have theories. I don't want to go too deeply into this, but like, there are very different dynamics in the United States between these political parties, Democrats and Republicans, and it's certainly the case that if you would just want to, I don't think anybody would dispute this, left or right. It's just broadly speaking, on the right, you typically prefer less government, not no government, but you prefer less government, and then if you're on the left, you prefer more government, bigger government, more subsidies, more entitlement programs, all that crap, right? So, like, that just is the case, right? And so when it comes to this sort of innovation here and the level of control, like if you're the type that wants more government and more government control, crypto does the opposite of that, right? It can anyway. That doesn't mean that it can't be regulated in a way that you're not skirting reasonable regulations. Of course, you can have that too. You can do this in a reasonable way. But just on a core level, if you think about belief systems in these political parties in the United States, I think it's pretty reasonable to speculate that's probably a big part of it, a couple of years ago, I don't know if it was 2 or 3 years ago, for fun, I put out a poll on X, and mind you, especially at that point, I had said pretty much nothing about politics, and I still don't. Like, this is never going to be a political channel. Don't worry about that. But I put out a poll. I was just kind of curious. I was like, just do you self-describe yourself as being politically more on the left or more on the right? And this was years ago. And again, I hadn't said anything at that point. And at that time, I remember the results for people that watch me. And so these are just people in crypto in the XRP community. But it was 72% were self-identified to be more on the right than the left. Only 28% were more on the left. And that didn't surprise me, It doesn't. It's just because of the origins of crypto. It's not surprising to me in the least. But still, this shouldn't be partisan. We're talking about innovation. And so Brad Garlinghouse wrote the following. Essentially, only in the US is this even an issue. Elsewhere, folks from the public and private sector start out by talking about how profound these technologies are and how they can improve existing systems. Let's strive for that, as we have seen in many countries, instead of partisan BS. Big thank you to, and then he thanked Fortune Magazine and somebody else here for having me this morning at Brainstorm Tech. And so that was yesterday afternoon that you posted that. And also in this clip, I'll note, he said something that I've been highlighting forever, which is basically, if you're anti-crypto, and so you're a Democrat, you're anti-crypto, that gets you 0 votes. Whereas, if you're a Republican and you're pro-crypto, that's going to get you however many number of votes, whether it's tens of thousands or more, whatever the number is. And that's another way of saying something that I've said a little bit differently, which is that there is no anti-crypto voting bloc. There is, however, a pro-crypto voting bloc. So there are people who are anti-crypto, but that's not something they're going to be choosing to, like, that's not something that's going to determine who they vote on. That's just something they're barely aware of. And if they're anti-crypto, they've probably done about zero research anyway. They don't care. They just have this opinion based on almost no data. But then if you're in it and you've got money invested in it, you're going to be way more likely to have your vote impacted based on if a candidate is pro or anti-crypto. And so Brad Garland has said the same freaking thing. And he said the Republican Party, this is like almost an exact quote, but at the end of this clip, Brad Garland has said the Republicans, they're playing chess and the Democrats are playing checkers. And that's because, and he noted this, and to his credit, and this goes against what Ripple CLO Stuart Alderati was saying, Brad Garlinghouse said, look, it's just the case that the Republicans, broadly, and I'm paraphrasing again, but he said it in this clip, the Republicans, they're the pro-crypto party, the Democrats are the anti-crypto party. And he's bemoaning that, as am I. It shouldn't be the case. It should not be partisan. But he's right, and I've been saying all of that. He is spot on. Which brings us to this. Ripple donates $1 million to dethrone Senator Elizabeth Warren. Now, this is fascinating. Ripple makes a significant donation towards dethroning Senator Elizabeth Warren from her position as senator from Massachusetts. So you know what? Turns out it's really good that a bunch of players, individuals, and businesses in crypto are very wealthy. It turns out it's very good that a lot of people on our side in crypto, very, very wealthy, right? Because we're pushing back against this crap collectively, right? Fox Business journalist Eleanor Terrett called the public's attention to the development today. According to the pro-crypto journalist, Ripple donated $1 million to the Commonwealth Unity Fund, a newly created political action committee established by pro-XRP lawyer James Murphy, aka Meta Lawman, name might sound familiar to you. Notably, Ripple's donation to the super PAC will support efforts to remove Senator Elizabeth Warren and promote attorney John Deaton's candidacy as the next Massachusetts senator. In addition to Ripple's commitment, Attorney Murphy supported this initiative with a $50,000 donation. It is noteworthy that Ripple had previously supported Deaton's bid to dethrone Senator Warren from the United States Senate earlier this year. In April, Ripple executives Brad Garlinghouse and Chris Larson donated the maximum individual campaign contribution of $6,600 to Deaton's campaign. According to Politico, the company's executives divided their donations into two categories, half for the primary election and the other half for the general elections. Besides Ripple executives, other crypto proponents, like Cardano founder Charles Hoskinson, also supported Deaton's bid to unseat Senator Warren. As of April, Politico reported that Attorney Deaton had raised $1.26 million with most of the funds provided by crypto enthusiasts. Well, how about that? Wouldn't you know it? Do you think that the non-existent anti-crypto voter bloc, again, non-existent doesn't, do you think that they threw $1.26 million for anti-crypto reasons to any political candidate? No. Because they don't, those humans don't exist. There is no voter bloc that's anti-crypto. They're anti-crypto people. There is no voter bloc that is actually anti-crypto. They don't care. They just don't. We on the other side, in crypto, are very motivated because our financial well-being is at stake here. Duh. That's why the fact that the Democrats are still anti this is like they're shooting themselves in the foot. Like, it's just the stupidest damn approach at a time where they cannot afford this, frankly. Anyway, peace continues. The Massachusetts senatorial election is characterized as a significant political showdown between the anti-crypto and pro-crypto armies. Deaton heads the pro-crypto wing. He is a former U.S. Marine and lawyer focused on the growth of the U.S. crypto industry. His major contribution to the industry was seen in the legal tussle between the U.S. SEC and Ripple. Absolutely spot on. And Deaton has a real legit shot, even if challenging, to actually win this election. Don't think he can't do it. He can do it. He wouldn't be doing it if he couldn't. And he has publicly stated he put in $1 million of his own money into this. He is not messing around with this. And there's a reason that he's getting this level of backing. Because it is possible. Ripple wouldn't just be throwing $1 million away here for the hell of it. If there was no chance, no. There's an actual chance that Attorney John Deaton could be the next senator in the state of Massachusetts. This could really happen. I think it's very, very possible. He can absolutely win this thing, and I'm rooting for him. 100% here. I'm not a financial advisor. You should not buy or sell anything because of anything I say or write. That would be a very, very, very bad idea. Until next time, to the moon, Lambo.